The youth inexperienced prison officers are at risk of grooming from the most dangerous criminals. I'm going to read into this exclusive from the Independent, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an exclusive from the Independent with the headline that young, inexperienced prison officers are at risk of grooming from the most dangerous of criminals. Nearly a third of prison officers at a Category A high security jails have fewer than 3 years of experience. That is very worrying with very limited experience, guys, especially in such a high level echelon of a prison. So nearly a third of officers at high security prisons have fewer than 3 years of experience, official figures show, fueling concerns about safety and grooming of staff by the most dangerous criminals in the country. As of June 2023, a total of 2,993, that's 31% of prison officers, have been in their jobs longer than 36 months, up from just 236, that's 6%, in June 2015, according to the Ministry of Justice data. Experts warned that newer recruits who require more support, training and mentoring were at very real risk of being groomed by experienced inmates presenting new dangers in already overstretched prisons. A union representing prison officers said the figures were reflective of the staffing crisis across the sector, with Her Majesty's prison and probation system, the HMPPS, losing staff hand over fist. So this here, so can we zoom in? Okay, so we'll zoom in a second, guys. So this is Category A danger. So you click on the circles to see the percentage of prison officers with fewer than 3 years of experience in Category A jails in England. So, and it goes from the percentage point of view here, and if we actually just, I'm going to zoom in a bit. So that's Franklin there, 30. So that's roughly 29.6% to 32.4. Full Sutton 32, Wakefield 38. That's 32 to 35. Manchester 33, Gareth 33. Gartree there, Whitemoor 24, Longmark 24, Woodhill 38, Belmarsh 27, Swanville 28, and Isle of Wight 25. Is that all our prisons? Is that all the prisons that we have in the UK? Sure. Well, in England specifically. It must be England specifically. That is pretty worrying to say the least, guys. Yeah, just jails in England. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 prisoners for one nation. That doesn't sound like a lot, does it? That's just for England specifically as well. Labour has said that the government needs to urgently address the challenges facing prison staff. The figures come following suspected terrorist Daniel Radcliffe escape from Walworth prison. Mr Radcliffe, a 21-year-old former soldier, pleaded not guilty to escaping from the Category B jail in South London, but he appeared in court last Thursday via video link from the Category A Belmarsh prison, also in London. It sparked a national debate about security across the UK prison estate, as well as staffing and morale issues issued more broadly among the officers working for them. Overcrowding and drug abuse is also significant problems. Category A prisoners who have the highest level of security in house and house male prisoners who pose the greatest threat to the public, the police, or national security, such as terrorists, murderers and rapists. Category D prisoners have the lowest security and house criminals who are not deemed a risk to society. HMP Belmarsh, where Mr Radcliffe is held, 116 police officers, 27%, have fewer than 3 years of experience as of June 2023, up from 19.5% in 2015. Of all the Category A jails in England, HMP Woodland in Milton Keynes and HMP Wakefield in West Yorkshire had the highest percentage of these officers. 38% HMP Larton in Worcestershire had the lowest on 24%, according to the figures published by Prison Ministers Damien Hinds in response to a parliamentary question tabled by the Labour Party. Charlie Taylor, the Chief Inspector of Prisons, said that some recruits go on to do an outstanding job, but that those new to the service need more support and mentoring from experienced staff. It's really it's the natural thing really from any kind of workplace that when you are new to a sector, you need someone with experience to brush that experience off to you. It can be it's any walk of life pretty much, that kind of thing. It's so important that when you are new to something that you have experienced people around you. Starting from afresh is very, very hard if you don't have people around you to help support you and give you the not just all the knowledge and the training, but those who have experienced it, yeah, to help give you the best understanding possible of the job that you have to do. Whereas in the past, recruits to the prison service were often older and more experienced, we now have officers starting who are just out of school, he told The Independent. Mr. Taylor said that when mentoring was lacking, it can actually be the prisoners who end up imparting key knowledge to new recruits, and I've heard many tales of this taking place. He added positive relationships between staff and prisoners are, of course, to be encouraged. But there is a real risk that inexperienced new recruits can be groomed by experienced prisoners, introducing new areas of risk to an already stretched service. Now, it's important that there is a relationship between prison officers and prisoners in order to keep things stable and calm, and keep things in good terms and in good faith, shall we say. But obviously, if prisoners have been there long enough and know how things work, and someone new comes in and if they're not trained properly, or they've not been given all the right service or whatever, they kind of rushed in, and as it says there, it's already a stretched service, they can easily be manipulated if they're not careful. That's a dangerous thing. Earlier this month, The Independent revealed that across the prison estate, only 30% of officers had more than 10 years of experience, down from 60% in 2017. More than 1,000 of those staff left in the past year. The sharp rise in the proportion of inexperienced staff in prisons reflects the staffing crisis in the prison service, with 1 in 7 uniformed officers leaving their job during 2021-2022. Mick Primlet, Assistant General Secretary of the Professional Trade Unions for Prisoners, Correctional and Security Psychiatric Workers, said, I'm sure that the HMPPS will make the same old statements regarding staffing retention toolkits, the intention to recruit staff, extra staff and so on. But the simple fact is that the HMPPS are losing staff hand over fist. Excuse me. He added the recent pay announcement, which stated that experienced staff on old terms and conditions would not receive a pay reward this year or in the future, along with unsafe or unachievable regimes, and increased violence will only lead to further staff leaving the service. These prisoners in high security estates hold some of the most dangerous people in society, including terrorists and murderers. Recent His Majesty's Inspectorate of Prison reports regarding prisons such as HMP Woodhill, HMP Whitemoor and HMP Long Lartin make for a very grim reading. New members of staff are being mentored by other new members of staff, and it's a recipe for disaster, which of HMPPS's own making. Yeah, that's not good if you're not having those who've been there for a long time in it. Sir Bob Neal, chair of the Commons Justice Committee, said the Conservative MP for Bromley and Cheshire said the high security prison figures, this is a stark and worrying statistic. Retaining experienced and knowledgeable prison staff is vital to the safety on the estate and rehabilitation work with prisoners. The government's risk failing in its duty of care to prison staff and prisoners alike by allowing this situation to perpetrate. Sharbina Mahmood, the Shadow Justice Secretary, said, our prisoners are in crisis after 13 years of Conservative chaos, but these figures paint a stark picture of the reality of the mass exodus of staff. The high staff turnover means a lack of experience from its own prison wings and new recruits struggling to find people to learn from. The Prison Officers Associates estimate that almost 100,000 years of culminated experience have been lost since 2010. That's shocking. That's really bad. That's a lot of knowledge and experience about dealing with prisoners, handling them, all that kind of stuff. Losing that amount of experience, that's really dreadful. The government needs to urgently address the challenges that prison staff are facing to ensure that we see an improvement in engagement in retention. They will get a grip on the prison system and ensure public safety. Of course you would say that. A prison service spokesperson said, "We are doing more than ever to attract and retain the best staff, including starting salaries for officers, which have risen from 22,000 to 30,000 since 2019. Okay, yeah, that's the best you can come up with. It's very worrying. Like anything, any job, anything, if you have someone there who has got the experience and knows the ins and outs of things, and they brush that experience off to you, it makes things all the more better. But if you're going in fresh as a daisy, and you're learning from another person who's fresh as a daisy, and you're kind of learning on your feet, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make hiccups. Now, you make some mistakes and hiccups in life anyway, but those mistakes and hiccups, especially in a job like this, could potentially be fatal, and can lead to manipulation by the prisoners, who have been there for a long time and know how things are run. Because when you're there for a long time, you tend to pick up on things. So that's a pretty given, and it can happen. They can be manipulated, and it's a scary thought. But yeah, reform is needed for prisons. Is 11 prisons enough? I don't think 11 prisons is enough for England, if I'm honest. Perhaps one or two more needs to be built, because obviously they have the reports of overcrowding as well in some prisons. Obviously not on the levels in some other places across the world, such as I think Venezuela, Colombia have some of the worst, but they're some of the worst prison systems in the world. But obviously it's not a fair comparison to ours, to be fair. But we are having this issue, but also the rehabilitation of prisoners is vital as well. And if you're not giving necessary, if money is going in, you're giving money, putting in more money than ever to the prison sector. How much is that going to rehabilitation? How much staff recruitment does it come around the rehabilitation to make sure that when they are released, that they do not repeat and reoffend again? Because I think that is a crucial thing as well to play when it comes to regards to prisons. But what do you make of this exclusive, guys? Should we be concerned? I'm concerned, especially if they're relatively new to the experience. And what can be done to stop people leaving the profession, shall we say, in order to make sure that their knowledge and their experience is passed down to others. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like, share and subscribe as always. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.